Proposition 7, infrastructure, $13.2 million. What is the League of Women Voters? We're a 151-year-old nonpartisan nonprofit organization. We advocate for issues, but not for candidates or politicians. What is this tax? The tax would start April 1st, 2022. What is on the ballot? 14 propositions have been proposed in 4 broad categories. Each must receive a majority of votes to be approved. Who is presenting? Dr. Mark Rennie from the Cheyenne City Council and Gunnar Malm from the Laramie County Commission. Welcome. I am Rosalind Shalisky. I'm Secretary of the Cheyenne League of Women Voters. Assisting is our Zoom master, Dr. Karen Meister-Emmerich, Vice President of the Cheyenne League. Along with our members, we thank you for your interest in the election for the Laramie County 1% specific purpose sales and use tax, also called the 6-penny tax. Gunnar, we have Proposition 7 has lots of infrastructure for Burns, Pine Bluffs, and Albin, and then some I would call them county. They're maybe located, like the library and the Archer facilities. So could you start? Have you start, and then I'll have Mark finish with the Greenway project. So
sure. So yeah, number 1 there is for our library, which is an award-winning library and was a 6-penny project about 20 years ago. But its boiler systems have kind of reached end of life. And so they have 3 boilers in that building, and unfortunately 2 of them need replaced. And so this is an attempt to help do that and get those systems up to par because we want to keep people coming to that real gem of an asset that we have in Laramie County. So this is just in cooperation with them and to make sure that everybody has a good temperature when they're in their reading. And then number 2, this one is exciting because I think it provides a real ROI or return on investment to voters long term. So it's almost $7 million, but it'll allow us to hopefully either tie into the city's sewer system. As the city has expanded east, it has gotten closer and become more economical for us to tie the sewer system at Archer into the city, or expand our own capacity out at Archer. As it currently sits with a 100,000 square foot event center, multiple office buildings, and a juvenile justice center, we've kind of maxed out what we can put out there in terms of the ability to clean and process the water in our own sewage system. So there's almost 200 acres directly north of Archer that the county owns. And when you have a 100,000 square foot event center, some of the things that can really make that even a brighter spot in our community are the availability of amenities. A hotel, a restaurant, gas stations, things like that are not possible as it currently sits given the sewer treatment facility capacity at Archer. So if we're able to tie into city services or expand our own through this ballot initiative, we could really see an ROI on our investment there, as 200 acres of developed land is roughly $30 million in revenue that we could then put back into the long-term development and care of the Archer facility, getting that off the general ledger and getting that out of our general fund expenses for the county yearly. So it'd be able to set up a nice, potentially nice nest egg that will allow us to operate and expand Archer throughout the years, as well as offer amenities to our guests and tourists from out of town who come and utilize the Archer Event Center. So I think that's an exciting project, and I'm very hopeful that our friends at the city will allow us to tie in to their services. Next, we have $600,000 to the town of Burns for the construction and operation of their water and sewer systems. Again, these small communities rely so heavily upon these 6-penny dollars just to survive. And this is a project that unfortunately didn't make it last time because of potentially some things that it was grouped with. And so it's another bite at the apple to get this project done so that we can have healthy, clean drinking water and sewage capacity in the town of Burns. And so I think this is really important, and I'm hopeful that the residents of across Laramie County will support our partners in Burns. $35,000 to the town of Burns to purchase an operation of a maintenance UTV. Again, they do all of their own maintenance, just like the city and the county, and they need vehicles to operate and do that. $50,000 for a pickup truck for town maintenance, $245,000 for upgrade and construction on their town-owned parks. Again, Dr. Rennie can touch on it as well. If it's an existing piece of government property like a park, I believe upkeep of that park is an infrastructure cost and not a community enhancement. So that's why that falls in here. $310,000 to the town of Pine Bluffs for their water and wastewater telemetry update and repair project for their wastewater telemetry system. So this has to do with their ability to process water, gray water in their community and make sure that it's being handled responsibly and up to the standards of DEQ and EPA. Number 8, $620,000 to the town of Burns, or town of Pine Bluffs, I'm sorry, for electrical distribution upgrades and expansion. This relates back to that north development, north of Pine Bluffs, and their capacity to be able to offer all of the things you need to develop a new part of your community. You need water, you need sewer, and you need power. And so this will be a project that they work on, and I'm sure they'll work in conjunction with High West Energy out there to make sure that it is done as most cost effectively and as safely as possible, and will allow the development of those lots north of town. And then finally, number 10, $1.7 million to the town of Albin to complete a mobile home park. We've mentioned in previous videos, if people want to watch, that housing is an issue throughout our community. And it's not just related to here in Cheyenne or in Laramie County. We've seen it in Pine Bluffs, and we're going to see it in Albin, especially as the federal government's and the Air Force's GBSD program comes online. A great number of those workers will be in the Albin, Scottsbluff, Pine Bluffs, Kimball area, and they're going to need housing. And there's just not the capacity in a town of Albin currently to offer those kind of things. And so an RV park / trailer park is a good opportunity for them to house temporary workers, as well as it's very agrarian still in that part of the county. We have many farms, ranches, and their workers are typically migratory and seasonal. And so a project like this allows for housing in a safe and effective manner that keeps people from dumping things where they shouldn't dump them, being parked on other people's property, or otherwise just not in a safe area. And so this expansion of their RV and trailer park will just be an added bonus that Albin can offer with the GBSD program and with their residents and surrounding community members.
Gunnar, your explanation, if people start to look at all these videos, I am now seeing the tie-in of so many of these projects in the eastern part of the county that I didn't see before. And your explanation of the sewer, who thought sewers could be sexy, but at Archer makes perfect sense. I understand that now, so thank you. And then the last project on this thing is 2.5 million, Mark, for the Cheyenne Greenway System Maintenance Project. There you go.
That's correct. And I agree with the commissioner when he talked about why is this under infrastructure. It's because it's existing. So it makes sense to put it in this category. We recently celebrated the 30th year of the Greenway. So we've had 30 years and we now have 45 miles of Greenway out there. So just like streets develop potholes, our Greenway has developed potholes. There's fencing that needs repaired. There are mileposts that need repaired and repainted. And again, it's something, this has been a great amenity for Cheyenne. A lot of our citizens use it. Makes Cheyenne a little more attractive place to live, I think. And it's something we need to take care of. So, and we've, as I said, in 30 years, we've gone from nothing to 45 miles. We've tried to repair it where we could, but again, we've kind of fallen behind in that area. And we think that this funding, this $2.5 million, will allow us to fix some of the areas that need repaired on it, and so that it can be used again and be safe to use. So,
Thank you. League members, does anyone have a question to follow up? Okay.
So Ross, just
Yeah,
one question, just in case, and I don't know if Mark has this, but is there an indication of how many people use of the Greenway?
I don't know.
I don't know if
there isn't, unless we hired somebody to sit out there and do it, or you could put a traffic counter out
Exactly.
for the cyclists, but that doesn't help the pedestrians or the runners that use it.
Yeah,
So,
let's step right over.
no, to be honest, the only way to do that would be to randomly, you hire people to just randomly at different times of the day count what's being used, and we've never thought we had the money to do that.
Right. Do you have a sense though of its use aside from actual numbers? And maybe that's a tough question. Never mind.
That is a tough question. I think it depends on the day, and like weekends, it gets used a lot. And in the evenings, I mean, I'll drive by, I drive Del Range a lot, and different times of day that gets used a lot. And then I've had other people say, well, during week and during work hours, there's nobody on it. So, which makes sense.
Right.
Well, thank you, Gunnar and Mark, on behalf of the Cheyenne League of Women Voters, for providing such valuable information. And finally, to our Laramie County voters, remember, your vote is your voice. Use it. When is Election Day? It's Tuesday, November 2nd. When is early voting? It's already started and will continue until November 1st at the county governmental complex. How to vote by absentee ballot? You can request a ballot from the county clerk, but you better do it quickly, because it will take 7 to 10 days for your ballot to arrive and another 7 to 10 days for it to be returned by mail. But you could take that absentee ballot to the county clerk's office or to the drop box on Cary Avenue. Is an ID required? It is now. Wyoming law requires an ID before voting in person on Election Day or during early voting. And here are the IDs that are accepted. Your vote is your voice. Use it.